Well, hi everybody, and good Wednesday morning to meteorologist Travis Klineski. Winds already fairly strong out of an easterly direction this morning as an area of low pressure situated over northwestern Kansas continues to strengthen. Those winds will get stronger later in the day and into the evening. Now, the majority of us will stay dry today, or at least for sure the morning hours, although we'll start to see precipitation get going off to our northwest during the afternoon hours. Rain, a mix of precipitation, maybe some sleet, freezing rain, and then snow in the far northwest. Otherwise, what we'll really be focusing on is southwest Nebraska, northwest Kansas. During the mid to late afternoon hours, I expect thunderstorms to begin firing, and those will start to race eastward pretty quickly close to our area of low pressure. Notice that strong northeasterly wind. As that wind starts to turn more northerly, so those areas that have more of a northerly direction to the wind will not warm up much today, but the areas with more of an easterly wind or even a southeasterly wind, especially in Kansas and southeast Nebraska, should warm things up quite nicely out there. As we head into the evening hours, watch that threat for severe storms continue to race eastward. Again, they will be moving fast towards south central Nebraska, north central Kansas, and then eventually into southeast Nebraska, northeast Kansas. Severe weather will be possible. Meanwhile, just to the northwest and west of the Tri-Cities, we are looking at the beginnings of what could be a mess of ice, freezing rain and sleet, and it could be falling heavy. We could be looking at very slick conditions. That sleet could be accumulating. Meanwhile, as it transitions over to snow in the colder air, where there's not just cold air at the surface, but colder air aloft, you're looking at heavy, wet snowfall, and with strengthening winds, that snow will be blowing around places like Ainsworth, back towards the Ogallala and Imperial areas. Pushing later into the night, once we get past about 10 o'clock, the severe weather threat drops off pretty quickly. Still could be some thunderstorm activity. In fact, even where there's icing with that sleet and freezing rain, still mainly north and west of the Tri-Cities, there could be thunder sleet and thunder freezing rain, thunder snow where there is heavy snow falling. Now let's look at that severe weather threat a little more closely. The update, and there will be another update that comes out around 8 o'clock this morning, but the update that came out late last night for the day one forecast of the Storm Prediction Center did bring up and enhance the risk of severe weather. They brought that threat up for portions of south central Nebraska, southeast Nebraska, and northern Kansas. A larger part of the area under a slight risk of severe weather in that yellow shaded area, and even a marginal threat all the way up to, I'll say, Burwell, Bartlett, and then back towards just west of the McCook area, Trenton areas with a marginal threat. Now, an enhanced risk kind of gets your spidey senses going, so to speak, but what exactly does that mean? Because not all enhanced risks are the same. Let's take a look at this here. So here's our severe weather threat. Mainly, the biggest threat is going to be large hail. That's that medium threat there, that enhanced risk. We're talking about 2 inches or greater in diameter. 1.75 inches, that's quarters or golf ball size hail, could be larger than golf ball size hail. That's going to be your primary threat. Now, we could see kind of a low to medium threat for some strong wind gusts, 60 mile per hour wind gusts or greater, not out of the question. There is a low end tornado threat, isolated threat. Maybe an isolated tornado or two, mainly in our north central Kansas counties, perhaps far southeastern parts of the local 4 viewing area around Beatrice. So really draw a line from Beatrice to Chester, Nebraska, which is just south of Hebron, to Smith Center, Kansas, and go south from there. There is a small chance of an isolated tornado. It's not a very good chance, but that's our main chance for an isolated tornado. As we look on here now, we're going to go back towards the winter side of things as that icing threat shifts southeastward. Now, it will become less of a threat towards tomorrow morning, so I'm not expecting ice, sleet, and freezing rain to be as big of a concern around Grand Island, Hastings, or eastward, but we'll see a quicker transition from rain to snow. Snow will be falling around Kearney, could start to fall around GI and Hastings, will continue to be heavier to the north and to the west. The winds will be at their strongest during the day on Thursday as snow continues through the morning. Now notice as we get into the afternoon hours, the snow lightens up. And notice also, farther to the south and east, you're probably not seeing much snow with this system, especially during the day Thursday. Again, snow becomes more hit or miss later in the day. The winds, though, will be very strong, so any loose snow on the ground could be blowing around like crazy. Thursday evening, Thursday night, the snow continuing to wind down, so by early Friday morning, we should all be done with the snow. The wind's still fairly blustery, but they will be lighter on Friday, so only patchy blowing snow is a possibility. All right, many of you have already seen this, but much of the area was upgraded to a blizzard warning. Draw a line from Antelope County to Howard County, that's St. Paul, to Buffalo County, Kearney, to Phelps County, Holdridge, and then down to Furnace County and Norton County in Kansas, and go north and west from there. All of those areas are under a blizzard warning. Now go southeast of there, there's a thin strip where there is a winter weather advisory out. And what that means is that conditions may get a little bad. There could be a little icing and maybe up to 1 to 3 inches of snowfall, but I'm not expecting widespread terrible conditions in those locations. But basically what we're going to be seeing is the farther west and northwest you go, farther northwest and north you go, really, the worse conditions will be. So, on the southeastern edges and the eastern edges of that blizzard warning, those are areas where we're looking at more of a low-end blizzard threat. And at times it may not even be terrible out there, but it will get worse and worse the farther northwest you go. You'll see the start times and the end times with the blizzard warnings and the winter weather advisory, starting earliest in the northwest, lasting the longest in the northeast corner of the state there. So how much snow are we talking? And again, this still is not an exact science because there's such a wide range in how much snow some could be seen compared to others. But again, the general trend continues to be for lower amounts of snow the farther east and southeast you go, and then a quick jump up in snowfall totals as you go to the northwest. We could see upwards of a foot of snow in southwest Nebraska, but it's northern Nebraska we still expect the highest amounts of snow, where it could be up to 1.5 feet or more. That's 18 inches and maybe even a little bit more when it comes to those snowfall totals, with the highest amounts likely being around that Valentine to Ainsworth to Springview area. That's the area I'm watching very closely for the biggest threats. Now, what kind of threat are we talking about? Now, first off, blowing and drifting of snow. Blowing snow could create whiteout conditions. We may even see some whiteout conditions at times around the Tri-Cities area, but again, as I said before, conditions will be worse the farther northwest that you go. So whiteout conditions possible at times, extremely difficult if not impossible driving conditions. Would not be surprised if I-80 is closed for a good stretch west of Kearney. Another thing we'll be looking for, power outages, especially if we get a lot of freezing rain. The area I'm kind of watching closely for freezing rain is kind of in that McCook to Lexington to Ord to O'Neill stretch. Those areas right there, freezing rain could be a major issue, and some sleet, accumulating sleet, but freezing rain, which if that accumulates on tree branches and power lines, we're talking about the potential for those to snap. Power outages are possible. Plus, just the wind alone will be very strong, so power outages could be a big issue from there. Up north, especially, drifting of snow. Because of all the snow we're going to see and the strong winds, drifting of snow will get first the farther north and west you go, but northern Nebraska especially, 5-foot drifts or higher are possible. This is one thing that could really cause harm or big concerns basically for livestock. It's calving season. We saw what happened up in the northwest part of the state back in mid-March because of the blizzard there. I think we could be looking at a similar situation here. So looking at northern Nebraska for livestock issues. It's also going to be, we're talking about very cold wind chills. We've gotten used to the warmer air now. When you have wind chills in the teens, maybe single digits, that can be harmful, especially the calves. So that's certainly something worth watching as well. Now temperatures, your future temperatures, places up north will not warm up much at all. In fact, temperatures may even drop. To the south and east, though, a big climb in temperatures to 70s to near 80 degrees. Tri-Cities, between the 50s and 60s, likely warmest in the Hastings area. I would not be surprised if Hastings gets to 70, but it will be much cooler to Grand Island and in the Kearney area. And then we all start to see that colder air win out overnight tonight as we transition from rain to the mixed precipitation and eventually to snow. It remains warm enough in eastern Nebraska that we should mainly see rain with this system, maybe mixing in some snow, say around Lincoln as we get towards Thursday night here. But then the rest of your forecast here, again, snow winding down or precipitation winding down early Friday morning, mainly before sunrise. Still a little windy on Friday and chilly conditions. Then as we push into Saturday, near 50 degrees. If you're going to the spring game, probably low to mid 50s. So if you have plans to go, grab a jacket. But otherwise, I think the only chance of precipitation Saturday looks to be west of the Tri-Cities, a little bit of rain or snow, mainly in the morning hours. Palm Sunday, getting close to 60 degrees. We'll start to get those lows back above freezing Monday morning. 71 on Monday, looks great. A little cooler though. It looks like our next cool down begins next Tuesday. Could get a little bit breezy as well. In fact, you look at the long range 10-day forecast, and again, after the big drop here tomorrow, we slowly climb back above average early next week, and then kind of hovering a few degrees either side of average most of next week. It does look like we could see a big time significant warm up towards the very end of next week, around Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, in time for that next weekend ahead of us here. And that's going out about 11, 12, 13 days from now here. So, all right, well, we'll wrap it up with that. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you got everything you needed out of this. Otherwise, if you didn't, contact me on Facebook and on Twitter, and you can give me a question, and I'll try to answer that question best I can about the upcoming winter/spring storm system. So with that, thank you all for watching. I do appreciate it. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Continue to stay tuned to the forecast as we get closer to this event on our app as well as on our website, ksmblocal4.com. Take care. God bless. Bye.